So I'm making white and dark chocolate mousse. It's a recipe that we have at home quite a lot. I can't imagine anyone ever making this when they're camping. It's really not something you would make when you're camping. But
it's easy.
yeah, it is easy. But do you know, when I make this, you're not having any. I am gonna save a whole lot for myself. Not even gonna let you have a taste.
Well, that's actually not very nice. Why are you doing that, Mike?
You bought a packet of Jaffa cakes at Woolworths. Ate every last Jaffa cake.
No, that's not
without
true.
giving me a single Jaffa cake. Without telling me. And if I hadn't have said, oh, let's have a Jaffa cake with our coffee, I never would have even found out.
I just chose not to tell you, and because I have an addiction for Jaffa cakes, I just ate them until I consumed all 9. There were only 9 and they're only tiny.
Yeah, but I only wanted one. That's right. The white is going to be on the bottom and the dark on the top. Now that is important because if you turn it out, you want the dark layer to be underneath because it's firmer. The white layer is a lot softer. I never use a recipe, I just kind of know how it works. So I've got to try and pretend I'm measuring things. I've got about 60 mils of water. I'm going to put that in the pot. On there, I'm going to sprinkle a teaspoon of gelatine. And make sure you sort of sprinkle it over, and that cold water will just soften it. So that when you warm it up, it won't go lumpy. That's a couple of teaspoons of honey.
So that's the honey, the water and the gelatin in there at the moment.
Yep, and I'm just going to let that sit for a couple of minutes before I line it with Glad wrap, because then you can turn it out so easily and then wrap it up and stick it in the fridge. I need a wooden spoon, really.
Would you like my wooden spoon?
Yeah, that little one that you stole from your mum.
I didn't steal it from my mum.
Whatever. The gelatine's all softened up nicely. And now what we're going to do is we're going to warm that up. Now I don't want to boil it, I just want to warm it. See how all that gelatine's melted already?
Yeah.
And now I'm going to add the chocolate. Now there's about 200 grams of chocolate there. Do not put this on a high flame. And really, you only just want to get it starting to melt. And now I'm going to turn the flame off completely. Okay, so there's no flame under that, it's off. It's just melting in the heat of the honey, water and gelatine mix that I had in there. The chocolate's melted, it's nice and smooth now. So again, just to be clear, there was 2 teaspoons of honey, teaspoon of gelatine, 60 mils of water. We warmed it up to melt the gelatine and the honey, and then we've added the chocolate and just stirred it until it's completely melted and gone smooth. In there, 1 egg yolk. Egg yolk just goes in there. Mix that up. Right, that's basically it. All we need to do now is fold that through a bit of whipped cream. So it's going to let that cool down a little bit and whip some cream. All right, I've got 250 mils of whipping cream, which I'm going to whip.
You know what I'm going to do when we do the cream for the dark chocolate? I'm going to get my little gadget out.
Yeah, whatever. I'll have finished and packed up and gone down the puff right then by the time you finish whipping your cream.
Oh, we've got some new neighbours.
Funny little caravan.
It is, isn't it?
The cream's just softly whipped, so you don't want it like piping consistency because that's too thick. You've got the chance that it will split when you add this. So as long as this isn't too hot, you can now just add this to the cream. So now all I'm going to do is just stir in the first lot with the whisk. Now I fold it through with a wooden spoon. All right,
Can I try some?
No, get your fingers out. Alright, so now I'm just putting the mixture into the mould that we lined earlier. Just let it flatten down. That needs to go into the fridge, and then when we do the dark, we just pour the dark on top. So now we're going to make the dark chocolate mousse. White's in the fridge setting. Normally for the dark, I just use a shot of coffee, so just an ordinary shot of espresso. Because we went to Murdering Point Winery a couple of weeks ago and bought this coffee liqueur, which is delicious, we're going to use this instead. 60 mils of that in the pot, and a teaspoon of gelatin. And again, just sprinkle it over so it softens just like we did with the white chocolate mousse. All right, so just like last time, I'm just going to warm that up without boiling it to melt the gelatine. You can see now that's all nice and smooth, all the gelatine's completely melted. Just gelatin and coffee liqueur, that's it. So I don't want to bring it to the boil. Now I'm just adding the chocolate just like we did with the white, about 200 grams of chocolate. Turn the heat off and then just let that melt.
Would you like me to pour you a glass of that liqueur in a minute?
No, I made myself an espresso martini.
Oh, so you're not having an AFD today then?
Well, no, we're going to the pub to watch State of Origin later. Alright, so the chocolate's melted. Remember, it was just coffee liqueur and gelatine, and now 50 grams of butter. The butter is just about making the dark chocolate one a much sort of firmer consistency than the white one. So you've got different colour, different flavour, different consistency. Just the egg yolk, and it's just about making it like, kind of gives it a richer consistency, the egg yolk. So just tip that in and mix that up.
I thought I'd join you now and use my little gadget.
You've got no cream in there.
I'm not using it today.
I can't believe I haven't thrown it in the bin yet. I promised I was going to throw it in the bin if you didn't win, and you didn't
Actually,
win.
look, it's not working.
Ah, let's throw it in the bin then.
It's not, is it? Look.
Give it to me now.
Dusk.
I'm
No.
going to bin.
Oh, look, the blow has stopped.
Throw it in the bin.
You've busted it. Do you think Aldi takes refunds?
Alright, so the cream for the dark one's whipped. Same thing, don't make it too whipped, reasonably soft. Then into there, I'm just going to add a bit of this dark chocolate mix. Remember that was, what was it? Coffee liqueur, gelatine, chocolate, butter, 1 egg yolk, and just all mix them slowly until it's smooth. Found a good use for your cream whipping thing, just to rest my whisk in. Much better use for it. Put the rest of the chocolate mixture into the cream. Just fold the chocolate mixture through. It's better if you don't beat it too much with the whisk, because you'll knock the air out, and although you don't want it to be really aerated, you don't want it to be completely flat either, and you don't want to overwork the cream or it'll split. Dark one on top of the white one. Yeah, so then with the glad wrap that's left hanging over the sides, just wrap that over. It goes in the fridge. When that's set, we'll be able to turn it out, cut it in slices. The amounts are probably pretty hard to follow on a video like this, but I make it from just what looks right, and I kind of, you know, guess the measurements. It's chocolate mousse I've ever made, which is why I make it so often, I think.
How long is it going to last, do you think?
Well, with you around, about as long as a packet of Jaffa Cake. But if you do want to make this and you want to know the exact amounts, just message Ali and I'll write it all down and send it, and you can have a go. All right, so the white and dark chocolate mousse we made earlier. And let's drizzle a little bit of this coffee liqueur over the top.
How is that tonight?
Delicious.